Did you turn? Oh man, what's stuck to my foot? There's something down here. There's like a plastic wrapper that's stuck to my foot.
Oh, I don't hate that.
Yeah. And I think it's stuck to my other foot. Something stuck to my foot. Hello, everybody. There's something stuck to my foot. Welcome to Wednesday evening live stream.
Wow.
Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. You're the coolest people on the face of the earth. Whether you're watching it live or watching it on the replay, just know we think so. So tonight we've got a cool giveaway. So later on at some point we're going to do that because it's some cool stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Somebody's going to get.
Right there.
It's
cool.
right over here, and somebody's going to get a lot of really cool things.
Woo-hoo.
Because that's just how we're going to roll this evening. So we've got that. We don't have a topic per se because we just don't. We're going to just answer a bunch of questions, I hope.
Sweet.
And I hope that you do what you do. And that is, as the week goes on and as your brain is turning and as you're thinking about stuff, you're like, let me write this down in my book of ideas. So hopefully you have a book of ideas and you bring your book of ideas to the live stream, and so we can answer lots of questions. So big thank you to the moderators that are here. I saw James, I saw Wendy, I saw Dave. I am sure there are others, potentially, maybe, who knows, but those are the ones I saw right off the bat. Thank you for everybody for being here. A couple of things to think about this week in video time land. Monday's video, we did. Do you remember what we did? Because sometimes you have a hard time remembering.
It seems like a long time ago. Sometimes the Monday through Wednesday can really kill you. Platy versus Molly.
Platies versus Mollies, yeah, they're cool fish with very important differences. So whether you've kept them before or haven't kept them or thinking about keeping one or the other, trying to make a decision, hopefully that short video will be of help because, like I said, there are some important differences. So that came out on Monday. Today, what did you do today? Pardon me.
I went to work.
Well, I know, but what video?
Just kidding. What bad aquascaping things can lead to?
Yeah, and I've firsthand experienced your bad aquascaping, what it can lead to.
Right. They're just some may not consider them mistakes. Some may just consider them. I kind of
minor annoyances, right?
Yeah, it's basically when you make certain decisions that will cause you some time and effort and maintenance on the flip side.
Or cause your significant other some time and maintenance issues on the flip side. So that's a good video. Yeah, so that hopefully will be helpful. That was on The Small Scape, her channel. You don't have anything coming out on Container Joy tomorrow because things have gotten very busy. That's why there was no video last week or this week. But can we publicly state that next week you're going to have a video out on your terrestrial container plant channel?
Yes.
Because we're really starting to ramp up into the season, right?
Oh, you know it. Oh, I went to Jewel and they had pansies out front. I had to say still my heart because that's game on.
Yeah. So that will be next week. But tomorrow, Members Only video will be down in the fish room. We'll be talking about some stuff, some things. Also, let's see, Friday, we have a video coming out on Primetime Aquatics that I'm deciding which one I want to release. So it's a surprise. And then Saturday, I'm sure you've got some fun thing coming out on the Small Scape. So that's the land of the videos for the week. And then events that are coming up. I know I mentioned this quite a bit, but we have, we've got the Greenwater Aquarium Society swap. I believe that's on the 10th of April. And then on the 24th is the GCCA swap. So that's where we're going to be in the month of April. In case you are in the area, want to stop by, get some cool fish, or just hang out with a bunch of cool people who also like fish and are crazy taking up their day at a swap, because that's pretty awesome. Fish Band 20 Gallon Long has been a member for 10 months now. Wow. You guys are the GOAT. I want goats, actually.
He really wants goats.
I'm on a goat kick right now. Where we live currently. We can't have goats, but someday if we ever lived in a different place where we could have goats, I would have a bunch of them. But thank you very much. Appreciate you saying such nice things. Tesla Killdozer rolling in with the 1717.
1717 Catchy.
Thank you very much. I'm watching the stream on my TV tonight. Every time my parakeets hear Jason's voice, they get vocal and chatty. Sad news. I lost a severum yesterday. Oh, that is sad. That stinks. I'm sorry. We just lost. Yeah, we did. That happened to us too. Our red shoulder severn, he was big. He was a big dude in the 150. We lost him a couple weeks ago, and that was sad.
Oh, so now
I'm
ours
sorry.
and yours are together.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened.
Thanks.
That really stinks.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you very much for the super chat. Do you think it's worth the price difference between 125 and 180 gallon tank for Peacocks? If price is not really a primary concern, I would do the 180. If we're trying to get a tank on a budget, then I would go 125 and not really worry too much about it, because it's just, either way you're getting a 6-foot tank. Obviously that 180 being 24 inches wide instead of 18 and a half does make a pretty big difference. I believe the 180 might be an inch or so taller as well, but don't quote me on the height, but I think it is. But the 180 is pretty close to my favorite 6-foot tank, because it's not so high like a 210 or a 240 that's still a 6-foot tank. You're like, oh great, how am I going to clean this thing? But it's high enough, wide enough, deep enough, so that it's going to be an awesome scape.
And it would be slightly easier for you to aquascape there, Michael.
Yeah, with a little bit deeper, but it's Peacocks, so I'm imagining lots of rock work, right?
Yeah, more rocks.
Yeah. If I could just choose, I would do the 180. And I personally would probably, if I could fit the 180s, let me put it this way. If I could fit 180s safely down my stairs into the basement, there would be 4 180s there instead of 4 125s. Actually, I think it's 3 125s, and that tank on the bottom is a 135 because it's like an inch and a half taller than the 125. So
how weird.
It is very weird, but that's the dealio there. Fish fan, 20 gallon long, thank you for the super chat. Love this channel and you guys, thank you. I'm wondering if the tannins in my 36-gallon bow front aquarium is stunting the growth progress of my plants. I've been adding easy green, but I don't see any growth after 4 weeks. Thanks in advance for your answer. So it could, I suppose, depending on the strength of your light and the types of plants that you have. Right, so I don't think it would do too much to Anubias. First of all, in 4 weeks, I'm sure you know, Anubias isn't going to grow very fast anyway. So
no,
if you've got something like Anubias in there, it's going to grow very slowly. What are the other? Would you say Buse is a slow-growing plant as well?
Very.
Thank you for that. So if you've got plants like that, they don't grow super fast. I would say it takes a while for like something like Jungle Val to really get its footing in the substrate before it starts going crazy.
True.
Crips are moderate, but I wouldn't say they're really fast growing. Slightly higher light, but I wouldn't say, I wouldn't even call them necessarily medium light plants. I'd say low medium, right? So I don't know how much they would be impacted. Now, if you had a deep tank that was packed with tannins, that could impact it, but I think we're talking about a 20 gallon long here. So that's a pretty short tank. So almost any aquarium light is going to be sufficient for a 20 gallon long, regardless of the cost of the brand. I mean, the Beamswork lights are really bright. Nycrew are really bright. Phoenix Stingrays.
36 gallon bow front.
Oh, duh, yeah. 36 gallon is a little taller. But still, the Beamsworks, the Nycrews, the Hygers, the Phoenix lights are more than adequate for a tank like that. Obviously, the Fluval, both the Aquasky and the 3.0s are really good. So...
But I don't think tannins will necessarily stunt the growth.
If they were really, because the tannins would block some of the light, especially if they're newer plants.
Okay.
Right, and if you've got a 36 gallon bow front, now that I'm thinking about that 36 gallon bow front's got to be what, at least, just guessing here, like 20 inches tall, maybe a little taller.
Oh yeah.
Because the 36 gallon it's the actual width. At the seams isn't very wide, then it bow fronts out, but you've got a significant amount of height there.
True.
So it could, I suppose, especially if you've got the faster growing plants, like maybe you tried to plant some wisteria or some water sprite. That might not grow as fast. It'll still be okay, but it might not be growing as fast as one would like.
But yeah, especially if you have smaller, if you have plants that are low-lying, that are towards the bottom, then they're getting blacked a little bit. I got you.
Now, the thing to think about too is if you are not adding tannin solution into the tank, as you do water changes, you're probably going to be removing those tannins on a weekly or bi-weekly basis anyway, so it's not a problem that's going to last forever.
No, because my Anubias filled in really nicely to the tank. Remember the tank? You just loved it. It was like red.
Yes.
It turned like red with all the tannins. It was crazy cool. And as soon as it kind of like started clearing up, which took a little while, I mean, those Anubias are tall. They're happy.
Yeah.
Happy campers.
They did really well. So hopefully that answers your questions sufficiently. All right, let me see here. We're just going right into the questions, right? That's how we're going to roll. Spinster. Oh, what?
I was reading Whip's. Hey, Whip. Good evening, primetime primate partners.
So,
When I first saw it, it looked like panthers. So I thought maybe we had another entry into the primetime.
Primetime Panthers?
The Primetime Panthers.
The Primetime Panthers. We sound really intimidating. Anyway, Spinster Sister, can you recommend an all-in-one book for beginning freshwater fish keepers? That's a great question, because those things that are packed with paper and the paper stacked on one another for hundreds of leaflets, all bound in a single entry, those really aren't all that popular anymore.
Well,
in the hobby, I don't know. I mean,
I have a nice collection, but I get the
really
old ones.
Old. Yeah, I mean, so those are old.
Yeah, that talk about the
I
fishes.
wish I knew. I don't know. So the short answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's out there anymore, because even pretty much any hobby I find myself getting into, I just go to YouTube and I just start searching for the thing I want to know, and then I gather like 4, 5, 6, 7 opinions. I see where the consensus is, and then I see where there's a lot of overlap. I say, okay, that's the foundational, most likely the foundational things that I can pretty much believe that are going to be the case, and then I look for the differences and see what's working for me. So the bottom line is, no, I don't really know of any books, because I haven't really seen a newer beginner guide to freshwater fish keeping. And the problem is with some of those old ones, you got to be really careful, because there is some advice in those older fish books that are just straight up bad, like really bad advice.
Yeah.
So the older ones are more like, this is interesting and it's kind of fun to go back to the Wayback Machine and see the advice they were giving.
Sure.
But
Fun pictures.
The science and the knowledge in fish keeping has increased dramatically since even 15 years ago. So
but for periodicals.
Oh, absolutely.
Fascinating magazine. Highly recommend. Amazonas.
Yes,
it's
that's a good one.
Beautiful.
For sure.
It's a must-have on your coffee table.
That was a big miss on my part not to think about that before you mentioned it.
That's what I'm here for.
Amazonas magazine. It's not a book, but for those of you who have never subscribed to Amazonas, it's the magazine.
Whatever,
the pictures, the illustrations, the in-depth articles. You will undoubtedly, with every issue, realize, I need another tank because now I want those fish and I want these fish. And oh my gosh, I've never seen these ones before.
Yeah. Totally worth it.
So yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good suggestion. All right, let's see here. Ricky's been a member for 14 months. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, Jason and Joanna, I just wanted to say hi. Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks.
Hi.
Appreciate you being here. That's the world of axolotls.
Oh.
So, all right, I have a question. The world of axolotls, or anybody else, because I don't watch a lot of TV shows, but I am assuming that there must have been a TV show that came out where somebody was keeping axolotls, and that's why they are increasingly popular, especially over the last year or so.
I heard something like that.
And I'm sure it's like a TV show like 90% of people have watched, and we're just like, duh. Well,
I know.
What's that? Flix?
I feel
Nightflix? No, Netflix? Oh, okay.
I've never seen Outlander.
I don't even know.
It's big. It's pretty big.
Yeah. So.
And Yellowstone. Never seen it.
Me either. Anyway, the world of axolotls. I plan on getting a 10-gallon long. 10-gallon long? Should I have 2 pea puffers, 5 neon tetras, and ember tetras? Maybe also some adult cherry shrimp. So I'm assuming the 10-gallon long is a bookshelf tank that is going to be in the neighborhood of 28 to 30 inches, probably somewhere along about that length. Maybe 5 to 7 inches tall, 5, 6 inches wide, something like that. And the question is, pea puffers and tetras in a tank that size probably work out okay. Pea puffers can be a little bit nippy, but your neons are also going to move pretty fast. And when we've kept the smaller tetras with the pea puffers, I don't recall us ever having an issue. And we had the 12-gallon long, and maybe that's where you're getting the idea. You saw that, where we had pea puffers in with lampi rasboras and I don't know, just a bunch of different types of fish. Yeah, and that always worked out fine. So the question was, should I have 2 pea puffers with 5 neon tetras and ember tetras? Maybe also add some adult. Don't do the cherry shrimp, because I would not trust my pea puffers around shrimp, around any invertebrates. Just assume that pea puffers are going to definitely nibble at them. Ember tetras, neons are fine. The ember tetras, in my opinion, tend to be a little bit more stable, and I've had better luck with them. Just the different types of neon tetras, sometimes they can be a little finicky in terms of their ability to survive. So I might go pea puffers and ember tetras, and if you got a 10-gallon long that is indeed somewhere in that 28-inch length, you could do easily 10 to 12 of the embers in there. That would look cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, forget the cherry shrimp, man. If you're looking for a cleanup crew in that 10-gallon long, something like a panda cory would be fine, because again, that's a longer tank. So let's see, Tasha 13. How's that pirate tank coming along? You know, we're going to have to do this now. Remember last week we were talking about our one-eyed Calvis and our one-eyed Cygnus, and I had the one-eyed fancy goldfish at the beginning, and we've got a few others that are just, I'm pretty sure they only have one working eye.
That would be really cool.
Filled with tannins. And it's not that we just have a fish room filled with like nasty fish because we don't take care of them. It's like, well, a couple of those, they were born that way. And the other ones, we don't just get rid of fish when they get old and cycle them up. Like, all right, we're time to move on to something else. Let somebody else have the old fish. We keep them until they just, they get all gnarly looking. Not unhealthy and not uncomfortable, but sometimes they don't look quite as pretty as they did in their prime.
It's okay.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
As long as they're eating and they're showing decent color and they're swimming around, and we'll keep them. I've got I don't know if you've seen this or not. I've got a brevis, a shell dweller brevis, that I assumed had a swim bladder issue, some kind of an infection, and because it basically swims like something was wrong with it. It's head down, which brevis will sometimes do, but it's like basically almost vertical, and it just kind of shimmies back and forth. And people commented on that because it's in the Cyprichromis leptosoma tank. It's a 40-gallon breeder. Like, you got a swim bladder with that fish. It's going to die soon. This was like 2 or 3 years ago, and he's still doing his thing and swimming around and healthy and happy and eating. And he's just got some kind of a defect where he can't stabilize his swimming. Maybe I tried to treat it, but I mean, if it was swim bladder and it was due to some kind of infection, it would have been long since perished.
For sure.
But here it is, still doing fine.
You sure it's not the other fish daring him to do that?
Yeah. Hey, let's freak out that thing that walks by the tank all the time. He'll pull you out again and try to give you all kinds of medications. So at one point, that brevis, I don't know if you remember, it wound up in the 125 Oscar tank. At that time, we had the 13-inch Oscar, the basically 18.5-inch tilapia, a bunch of peacocks. That fish somehow wound up in there. I think it was because maybe Eli was scooping out duckweed, caught him because he usually swims near the top.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what he did. I think maybe at that time we were feeding the duckweed to those fish because they would eat it. And then one day I saw it and I'm like, how in the heck did that thing end up in there? Well, it stayed in there because I couldn't catch it. And it was like a year before we finally decided, okay, that was when Eli and I pulled out all the rocks and then we resituated everything. I don't remember what we were doing in the tank, but it necessitated us pulling everything out. I finally caught him and put him back in the 40 breeder. But that little guy, that little brevis, shell dweller, that was 1.5 inches, has lived his whole life basically vertical swimming. And the 40 breeder probably gets made fun of in that tank. Winds up with all these massive fish. Somehow is like, hey man, what's up? I'm just being me.
Crazy guy.
And then back in that tank, and he's still around. He tells war stories about, and nobody believes him. It's really sad. The other brevis like, you're so full of it. That didn't really happen. He's like, here was a fish. It was a monster. It was as big as our world. It wouldn't even fit in our world. It was like Gigantica. And they're all like, you're just telling a lie.
He's lying again.
Little Brevi goes again, telling the story about those big fish. Really, he was just in the hospital tank. He's like, no. He saw it. And then he's like, listen to the person over there. And I'm like, I'm not getting in on this. You guys are too mean.
Are you done?
I'm done. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Noelle wants to know when the next Smallscape Saturday live stream is going to be.
Well, we thought, so you asked me about Saturday.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be around Saturday morning to do it. So we're going to have to see, because baseball season is starting. So our youngest, Eli, is now, his game's starting in a couple weeks. But I think we can squeeze one in.
Do you think so?
Maybe. I'm not going to promise. Mm-hmm. But possibly the next Saturday. Well, that's going to be a practice. No, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we really like those.
Yeah.
Well, you could always do one too. I could just show you how to fire it all up, and then people can
like,
get 100% you.
I would be.
Nobody needs quiet. That. Yeah, they do.
I'd be like,
Less me, more you. That's why they subscribe to the Small Scape. There's zero me on there. Sometimes that's good. I agree with you.
It's nice and quiet.
Yep, that happens. Evan, thank you very much for the super chat.
Hi, Evan.
Hi, Jason and Joanna. Hello. Question. What's your favorite uncommon African fish? Any lake, any river, or even from Madagascar? Oh, I got to think about that one. Hold on. Let me ponder that for a moment. Favorite African fish from any lake, any river. All right, well, one that's, I mean, it's not like any kind of crazy fish, and we have them in the fish room, and at some point I'm going to have to do a species profile because it is one of my all-time favorites. And when I first set up the fish room, there was a group of about 6 fish that I had to have. And one of them was the species 44 from Lake Victoria. I had a species 44 one time. It was crazy. In the 150, the big 150 now that has the geophagus and the frontosa, yes, they're mixed together. Yes, they get along fine. But that 150 at one point was kind of a mix of peacock, hap, just African cichlid sort of thing going on. And I had a species 44 in there. And I also had a Pseudotropheus acei, which is an mbuna. And I got them around the same time. And for whatever reason, that acei followed the species 44 all over that tank until the day they died. They were basically best friends, and it didn't matter. And sometimes I think the species 44 is like, seriously, dude, what is wrong with you? I go everywhere I go, but they never fought. They never fought, and that fish just followed the species 44 everywhere, and now I've got a group of them. So those are one of my favorites. Is it uncommon? I don't know, but it's probably not one that a lot of people talk about because we used to talking about the peacocks, the haps, and the mbuna. So I really like that one. Do you have one that comes to mind?
Electric yellow.
Well, that's a common one, but you can like that one.
It's my favorite.
It's probably the most common one.
I don't care. What's my favorite fish? Generally speaking, what is my favorite fish? The green neon. So, you're surprised?
No.
That I pick a common?
No, I think it's so common that it's uncommon. That's what it is.
We did fun.
We circled all the way around.
That's right.
The yellow lab.
Can you imagine if I could make a magical tank and keep them together?
Green neons and yellow labs. I'm sure people have done that and had a lot of magic happen.
For a couple days?
Yeah, until
it
might take longer than that because sometimes they grow up together and the yellow labs are like, whatever, these fish are just our neighbors.
That would be great.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? I do like the bleaker eye and the pollen eye. Again, those aren't necessarily really crazy uncommon, but I do like that black fish with the white spots. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. What's that called?
Well, there's two. And in the blackfish video, I just called them starry nights because commonly they both are called the starry night cichlid. People are like, it's not right. I'm like, I know this common name is, but yeah, bleaker eye and the pollen eye are really cool fish. So, yeah, let's see here. BC dolphin. Wait, come back here. Come back. Where'd you go? Oh my goodness, there we go. Thank you for the super chat. Suggestions on fish that will eat Hydra in a 20-gallon heavily planted tank with 6 peacock gudgeons, 3 salt and pepper cory cats, 1 bristlenose, and 3 neocaridina shrimp. Non-live bear though, please. You could try a honey gourami or a dwarf gourami. The rumor has it that they will eat the Hydra.
Really?
When I did a Hydra video way back in the day, and I don't think I did a particularly great job on that video, unfortunately, because I talked about Hydra, what they are, and then I don't think I stressed enough how to get rid of them. Although I think in that video I did mention those fish. So that would be a potential option. I have always found that with the Hydra, I only get Hydra in tanks where I feed a lot of live baby brine shrimp. And then once I stop feeding into that tank, the Hydra just go away. So if you're feeding live baby brine for some reason, if you're feeding a lot of it, obviously there's enough there for the fish and then there's enough left over for the Hydra. If you can cut that back, if you're doing that, that can help. Obviously, your problem is going to be, oh, wow, I've got the Neocaridina shrimp and they can be rough on the shrimp. The rest of the fish, for the most part, aren't really going to be impacted by it unless the peacock gudgeons are really small. Patrick, appreciate the fist bump sticker. Thank you so much.
Cute.
What do we got here? We've got Webhead. Been a member for 2 months. Thank you. Glad you're here. My nitrates are super high. Uh-oh. No matter how many water changes I do, can't get them down. Axolotl only thing in tank. Tank too cold for plants. Please help. Well, your tank might be too cold for aquatic plants. I'm assuming maybe you've got the tank on a chiller and you're chilling that bad boy at 50, 60 degrees. So first of all, it might be too cold for typical tropical fish tank plants, maybe. Although I don't know, maybe like what the lower temperatures are on the plants. I've never actually pondered it before. But if let's just say the tank arguably was in the upper 50s, low 60s.
Well,
it might be warmer. I mean, it might be room temperature. At room temperature, by the way, you're fine.
Colder, I would probably go to pond plants.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So, preach, young lady. Like, what did we put in the pond outside that would have worked in this type of situation? You would have to float them.
Well, not. Well, I was thinking the sweet flag, that would do great.
I mean, you could do pothos, right? The roots can go in. I would think they would be just fine. Where if you put the pothos and just float so you just put the stem in the water and let the roots go down. But the other thing to consider is so double check a couple things. Check that, one, you don't have nitrate in the water, because then you could be driving yourself crazy thinking, oh my gosh, my nitrates never come down. I'm doing all these water changes. It's driving me nuts. And then you look at your water and it's like, oh, there's 10 parts per million in my water, which can happen, especially if you're on a well. The second thing to consider is maybe whatever test mechanism you're using has gone bad. So some of those test strips, as they get older, they're not the most accurate, although usually they measure low, not high. Same thing with liquid test kits. I've found that I don't really test my water all that often, and so the liquid test kit I have from a long time ago is still the same reagents, and I find myself having to change those out periodically because they're way past the expiration date. So just make sure you're not way past the expiration date. On the order of months is probably fine. When you start like, holy cow, this thing is 6 years past its expiration date. Yeah, it's probably not working so good. As a side note, you guys want to hear a funny story? Speaking of expiration dates, you might have heard this story. I've told it before. Long time ago, this was back in the 1990s, I was working out and I hurt my elbow. So I went to the medicine cabinet and grabbed the thing of Icy Hot. I put the Icy Hot on my arm and it was really burning me, like my skin. It was hurting. And I'm like, so I started washing it off and I read the thing to see if I maybe made a mistake. Like, did I put too much on? Did I not do this right? Expiration date.
Oh no, 70s?
1979. That was the expiration date.
Wow.
It was like 1992 at the time.
Wow.
So I don't know what happens with Icy Hot.
Now I want to know.
I don't want to know because trust me, it really did not feel good. And it didn't help it did take the pain out of my joint and just replace it with a whole bunch of skin burning pain. So the moral of the story is check your expiration dates before you use Icy Hot or your tank testing equipment.
Well, we had a family friend who I never forgot this. This was when we were very young and we heard that she had done this. My mom's friend had put on Bengay and then taken a nice, really warm, hot bath.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that, right?
You're not supposed to do that. That hurts.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I don't know. I've never.
She had a sore arm right there. Even worse than before.
Ouch.
Yeah.
All right, let me see here. Oops, the thing skipped around once again. Regina, thank you very much for the super chat. This is my offering to the Primetime Aquatics gods because I missed a couple of live streams. Well, we're glad you're back. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Glad you're hanging with us again. Ricky, thank you very much for the super chat. Kind of like me, all beat up and gnarly. Too funny. Well, now you got something in common. There are fish out there like that as well. Tasha, thank you very much for the super chat. Hi. Love from Australia. Well,
Yay!
glad you're here. How do I ensure my purple mystery snail is getting enough calcium? She is in a community tank with Congo Tetras and Mollies. So there's a couple ways to do that. Primarily, the way that we've been doing it lately is Cats Aquatics has Snail Food that they've developed, and I really like Cats Aquatics because she's like a young kid, not a kid, but she started.
A kid to us.
Yeah, everybody's a kid to us, but she's like 20 years old. Started this business right out of high school with like her A&P teacher, biology teacher, and has put so much work into this business, which I'm very impressed by as someone at that age, going to all the shows and having samples and all this stuff ready to go. But anyway, now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Cats Aquatics snail food, including the calcium, is sold on Flip Aquatics. Flip Aquatics is a channel sponsor of ours. So you can go to Flip Aquatics and get the Cats Aquatics snail food, and one of those things, a lot of them are infused with calcium, but they also have just a regular snail food. What you would do in that case is you would take those little calcium chips in the snail food and usually throw those in after the lights go out, because the snails will definitely come out when the lights go out, when they feel a little bit more safe, and they will find it. And then the way you know if your snail is eating it is obviously as long as wherever you plopped it down in the tank, it's missing when you wake up in the morning. The snail's like, thank you very much. You don't necessarily have to do that every night, right? But certainly, I mean, follow the directions, but usually the calcium chip type stuff like that is like once a week or so. So hopefully that helps. Alrighty, let me scroll up. The whole thing just jumped on me once again. By the way, if you are asking a question you want us to answer, the easiest thing to do is put the @Primetime Aquatics in the question. It highlights it in orange for us to see, and then I know there's a question. M&C Aquatics. Thoughts on keeping Waru and Vieja with Oscars? Never kept Waru, so I don't know how they're going to do with the Vieja. I don't think there would be huge problems, because I've got a couple. Well, I should be careful here. Depends on the type of Vieja, and there are lots of different types. So we have Argentia in a 125 with some silver dollars. Right now I've got two of them. They're getting along okay, because generally the dominant one stays on the right-hand side of the tank, and when the subdominant one comes over about midway, the dominant one just kind of chases it back, but then leaves it alone. I don't know if it's going to stay that way forever. Those Vieja, also known as Mascajeros Argentia, are a little bit more aggressive. I've got a 125 with not one, not five, but 11 Synspilum. I don't find those fish to be aggressive at all. They never pick on one another, not that I've ever seen. I've got electric blue acara in that tank. They basically ignore one another. I have roseline sharks in there that they leave alone, right? They don't touch them. I've got Brisonose plecos in there. So would they get along with Oscars? The trick would be, ideally, if you're going to mix larger South Central American cichlids together, is to buy them all when they're relatively small, and then allow them to grow up together and keep an eye on them. Because just because I've had success, and I'm telling you that the Synspilum are this great non-aggressive fish, doesn't mean you won't get one with a few screws loose and just some kind of a mean streak. So I don't really anticipate, like I said, I don't know about the water. I think they're a little bit more aggressive, but the Vieja and at least the Synspilum have been really good. And by the way, I'm not the only one that's kept them together. A few other people in the club have had like 120-gallon tanks. When I did Jason's fish room, I actually have his Vieja babies. He had a 120 with the group, never caused a problem in his tank. So, and they're really, really pretty fish. As if you're asking, I'm sure you've done some research and like, yeah, they're cool. So probably work. Just have a backup plan. That's the main thing. Jennifer, how many angelfish in a 75-gallon 4-foot tank? Okay. A lot of answers to this question. When they are a quarter size, you could throw 10 of them in there, and they're going to get along for a while. And then as they grow, a couple things are going to happen. They're going to start becoming mature and thinking about the future and maybe having some babies. And if they do that and they pair up, they become more aggressive towards the other angelfish. And in a situation where you have multiple pairs, it might work out. Most of the time, you start having some problems, and then you wind up with a lot more angelfish. So here's my recommendation when it comes to angelfish in a 4-foot tank, like a 75-gallon. If you want to greatly reduce the likelihood that you're going to have issues, keep one. Trust me, angelfish get big. So a single really pretty angelfish in a 75-gallon tank where maybe you've got a veil tail. We've had veil tail angelfish in our 150. Not joking. That thing was 12 inches from the top of its tail to the bottom, and the body size was as big as the palm of my hand. We've got a couple in a 40-gallon breeder right now that I believe is a pair because they're always together. They haven't bred for us in that tank, but they're getting big. They're outgrowing that tank. We'll have to move them at some point, but they do get big and they are majestic. And if you want to pretty much, I don't know if it's a guarantee, but at least in terms of interspecies fighting, it would be a guarantee. One is good because as soon as you get a pair and they start protecting an area or a fry, it starts causing problems in the rest of the tank. And if you're not wanting to deal with that, it's not the best thing always. What you got?
Jeez, it's about time.
I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
My bad.
All right. From JDJ Locked In, what's the best species to breed in 20-gallon tank? What's best for the money? 20-gallon.
Best for the money. So first of all, we did a whole breeding for profit series, and we basically went from, I think it was like a 10-gallon, 20, 40 breeder. We went all the way up to like 125 gallons, I think. Mm-hmm. So check out that series, and if you're interested in a 20-gallon, we have one in a 20-gallon. It depends on your market, right? And that was one of the things, the very first video that we did, we made a point of saying it's everything you do is market dependent. So in our area where the water is a little bit harder, we do some cichlids because people can keep cichlids and not have to really change their water parameters, so they tend to sell better. What you want to try to do is find a fish that is going to appeal to the most people. That means be aware of the size of the fish. Smaller fish are more likely to be kept by a larger group of people, right? So if I can keep a fish in a 10-gallon, a 20-gallon and above, I've got a wider audience. I've got a wider customer base. If I've got a fish that's not super aggressive, that broadens my customer base. If I've got a fish that isn't going to produce 1,000 babies every time I breed it, that makes the babies a little bit more valuable. So in our area, that means things like some of the shell dwellers. Not all of them. Like in our area, Maltese, the Maltese, you see our 50-gallon low boy multi tank, those fish don't go for a lot in our area anymore because everybody who's had them has got them, and all their Maltese are doing the same thing my Maltese are doing, that is kicking out babies that they don't eat. So the market tends to get saturated. But if you can find in your market maybe, not a lot of people have brevis or they don't have gold ocellatus, that might be something to consider. The caudal punctatus, which we finally had our little guys breed again, so that was good after we lost our group. Those might work. Those fish to me are relatively straightforward and easy to breed, right? A lot of people ask about tetras and barbs, and to that I say it's tough to compete. If you're going to spend the time to breed certain types of tetras or barbs, and they're going to egg scatter those things everywhere, and you've got to use a spawning mop and then hatch them out and then find the really, really, really tiny fry food for them, and then turn around and try to compete with the store that's selling them for $1 a piece. How are you making any money on that? So if you've got softer water, a pistogramma, some of the rams could be nice. So I tend to lean towards those smaller dwarf cichlids. Long answer to a simple question. Sorry. What else you got?
Bob D.A., is it okay to add aquarium salt in a planted tank?
Mostly no. There's really not a need to, unless your fish are sick, and even then you'd probably go a different direction. But when in a planted tank, could you do like 1 tablespoon per 10 to 12 gallons? Probably, but not all plants are going to like that. It's just not worth it. You've probably spent a decent amount of time and money on plants. The salt, I don't feel, provides a big enough benefit to risk having your plants do poorly. So that's where I don't add salt. I generally don't add salt to tanks, at least because the fish that we keep do fine in our water parameters. I don't add maintenance doses to our tank. I do always have some on hand for a couple of reasons. One, we hatch live baby brine twice a day. And 2, if fish get sick, so they have some type of external parasite, whether that's ick or some type of evidence of bacteria or a fungal infection, boom, salt goes in. But I'm 99% of the time catching that in my quarantine tanks, not some display tank that's got plants in it. So that simplifies the issue. Steel Waves, thank you so much for the super chat. Set up a new 20 long multi-tank. What does bullying look like with Maltese, and what can I do about it? Trying to figure out if one is sick, bullied, or both. So bullying with the Maltese generally means you've got a male that is going over to another fish, and for the most part, we don't see a ton of bullying like where they're actually all out fighting. Usually what it means is some type of a display. They kind of rush over, they do a little bit of a display, and then often they go back to their shells. I very rarely ever see all-out fights. Now, bullying can be straight up, I've got this fish up in a corner. You start to see evidence of damage, whether that's a missing scales or you've got rips in the fins. The mouth area is kind of messed up from them locking lips, which, again, doesn't really happen that much in any of the tanks that we have. And I've got I've had shell dwellers in everything from a 10-gallon up to the 50-gallon low boys. Well, actually, in the 125s. So and also, at first, they might start to try to figure out, okay, where are my territories? So if I start a 20-gallon a 20-gallon long, and I've got maybe 6 or 8 Maltese, or even 10 Maltese in that tank, I want to have at least twice as many shells as fish. I want to spread those things out. Ideally, it'd be nice to have a little bit of rock work, like maybe right in the center of the tank, and all the shells go on the perimeter. They're going to move the shells where they want. They're going to stack the sand where they want, but that tends to help. That tends to help the subdominant males have a space that's out of the sight, out of the line of sight directly from the dominant males. But if you see a fish in the corner, you see him beaten up, you see him, just really looking bad, that's more bullying. What you got?
Kathy, what other fish can I put with an Oscar and 2 common plecos in a 300-gallon stock tank?
Oh, you got a bunch of options. 1 Oscar, 300 gallons.
Yeah.
You've got Severums come to mind. You've got most of the Therichthys, like your Fire Mouse, your Macula pinus, your Golds. Those are all pretty good options. Electric Blue Acara. I'm assuming that you're buying these fish at a size they're not going to get eaten. Like, don't buy 2-inch Electric Blue Acara and then you've got a 13-inch Oscar. It's like, hey, thanks for the food, man. Electric Blue Acara, the normal Acara, which we often gets overlooked, would work just fine. What else? I mean, there's a lot. There's schooling fish, such in a 300-gallon. You've got tinfoil barbs, you've got ballast sharks, you've got silver dollars, all different types. I mean, you've got the black bar silver dollars, the red hooks, the standards, the gold spots. There's a million different types of those that could potentially work. I mean, you've got a lot of options. The not the filamentosis barb, the larger one. Now I'm blanking on it, but there's a really cool barb and it's not the Prochulotus. It's like a filamentosis. I cannot for the life of me remember, but it's like 5 inches or so. That's a cool fish. Someone I'm sure will put it in the chat and be like, oh yeah, duh. What else? What else could we put in there? I have kept Oscars with tilapia. That was the crew that we had. They always got along. So you've got a lot of options. So hopefully, some of the Vieja, like the Synspilum, would probably work just fine. So let me see here. Chuck, thank you for the super chat. Hey guys, I was wondering why my your catfish is eating my mystery snails and not the Nerites. Oh, you're eating mystery snails and not the Nerites. I have been in there for a year. Great job, you too. Well, thank you very much. I don't know why they've decided. Maybe the mystery snails are just a little bit easier to access. Maybe the Nerites they close up a little bit more. Their shells might be a little bit harder. At least that's kind of been my experience. I feel like the Nerites, the snail shells, are a little bit hardier and probably harder to get the meat. Maybe they're just finding mystery snails are a little bit easier to chow down on. Catherine, thank you for the super chat. Why would a nubia suddenly get holes? No new fish. That's a you question. Holes. What is holes? I know it's a nutrient deficiency. I just don't remember which one, like the pinholing. Do you remember?
No.
It's a nutrient deficiency. That's usually what it is. I don't think it's the fish eating holes into the plant. Excuse me, because usually the fish, if they're going to eat plants, they're going to eat them from the perimeter and work their way towards the middle. So if you're getting the pinholes everywhere, look up like pinholing in plants, and there are some really good graphics. Like if you go on Google Images, that will tell you exactly what's going on, but I'm not a plant expert, and I don't remember what causes that. I don't remember if it's iron or if it's potassium.
Potassium.
Is it potassium? Okay. So it could be a potassium deficiency, according to the World Wide Web, right?
Mm-hmm. You got.
All right. Let me scroll around here and see. Got to get the chat skipping around. Corleone, thank you very much for the super chat. Hey guys, I have an emergency. Okay, hold on. 3 hours ago, I cleaned my tank for the first time in about a month. Nitrates are fine. Tank seems to take care of itself. Now white web-like substances all over the place. Okay. White web-like substance. Usually when I see that white web-like substance, it almost looks like a fog, right? If that's what we're talking about, so there's a couple different things, right? If it's looking like a fog, especially close to the substrate or close to decorations, sometimes what that indicates is poor water flow in certain parts of the tank. I used to see that sometimes in the mystery snail breeding tank that we had, where we had one sponge filter on the left-hand side, and when we'd get a lot of hornwort growth there on the right-hand side, we weren't getting a lot of water circulation there, and so you'd get like this white fungusy sort of floating-looking growth. So sorry, I didn't mean to bump the microphone here. So the way to solve that is increase the water flow in those areas where that's happening. If we're talking about something like maybe on driftwood, that naturally happens. Usually that happens when the driftwood is newer. So, but that usually just goes away on itself. Sometimes fish will eat that. What else? Web-like substance. You said your nitrates are fine, so it's not like there's a ton of extra growth going on there. And let's see. Clean my tank for the first time in about a month. You might have just disturbed the natural order of things, like you said, and that might be what's going on. And then usually, if you either get the water flow, make sure that it's flowing, or give it a couple of days, sometimes that goes away.
It was Regina's birthday yesterday.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Regina.
Happy birthday. That's cool.
Yeah.
We should do the giveaway. Because I just realized tonight's been flying by. You guys have been asking some really sick questions, bro. Yeah. So what we're going to do, hold on, I got to type the thing here. We got to get all ready.
While you're getting ready, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
Okay, from Matthew Does Stuff. I'm going to remove a divider on a tank with 2 male cichlids that fight. That's the only fish I have in that tank. They're going to fight. Is it going to be fine for a week?
I've seen male cichlids kill each other within hours.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't know. Just watch them. You really got to watch them. I mean, I've seen it where it's like, oh, they look okay. And I go to bed and I come down in the morning and one fish is dead. I mean, like just straight up, they absolutely got annihilated overnight. Maybe there was just enough light in the room where the fish could see each other and it was just like game on, and they just started going. So if you do that, if you have to, really watch them. And I mean, check on them as much as you can just to make sure that they're okay, but sometimes it can be brutal. Mm-hmm. All right, what are we giving away today? Let's see. You want to see?
Drum roll.
The winner is going to get not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different things. We're going to start with this thing. This is going to be fun to ship too, by the way, because it weighs stuff.
Pound.
So the first thing
1 pound
is this 1 pound. It is the Fritz Aquarium Salt. So this is all sponsored by Fritz Aquatics. They are one of our channel sponsors. You can get all this at the other channel sponsor of ours. That's Flip Aquatics. So Flip, F-L-I-P, Aquatics, sells a lot of the Fritz stuff. And this is high quality stuff. We really appreciate their support. If you ever go to Flip Aquatics, tell them, hey, Primetime Aquatics sent us over here to order some stuff because he said you're cool, and they do a good job. So Fritz, first thing, aquarium salt. You asked a question about aquarium salt.
There you go.
These things that I am showing you today are things that we always have on hand in our fish room. Salt is a must because if your fish gets sick, one of the ways to solve a lot of those external parasites is by adding salt. Depends on the fish. Sometimes it's anywhere between 1 tablespoon per 3 gallons, maybe 1 tablespoon per 5, 1 per 10. It just depends on the type of fish. But that's the first thing you're getting. Okay, next thing. The next thing is this. It's Bacteria Shield. We love this stuff in our fish room because this is, in my opinion, something that we would potentially add to a quarantine tank if we think the fish have any chance at all of contracting or showing signs of some type of external bacterial sort of fungal-y type infection. All right, so if there's any chance we're starting to see like white fuzz or white patches, not dots, but the white patches, this is a good thing to have on hand where you can be like, okay, I'm going to quarantine these fish for 4 weeks. Let me throw this in there at least for the first week because it's all natural and it's not like an antibiotic, not quite that intense. So this might be something you would add to a tank just off the start, especially if you know, hey, last time I bought fish from this place, they had a little bit of an issue. That's a good preventative. All right, next thing. The next thing we are adding, hold on, I got to make sure my eyes are working. That's Miracen. This is a lifesaver right here. This has got erythromycin in it. It's good for bacterial infections, some fungal infections, but this is the real deal. It's got antibiotics, so this is a good thing. There's 24 packets in here. I think you use 1 packet per 10 gallons, and you treat it for like 5 days in a row. We always have this stuff on hand. This next one saved us a lot of fish when we brought in those 2,400 fish a couple weeks ago, and that's the Miracen 2. And this one has got the monoxylene in it, I believe. Yep. This one is a great, as it says, great for bacterial infections. These are things we just have on hand because the more fish you get, the more fish you bring in. These things can certainly prevent a lot of issues. Now, for the most part, the Miracen 1 and 2, I'm not dumping this stuff in a tank unless I need to, unless there's evidence of, and it shows you right here on the back of all the things that it could potentially be effective for. But again, if you don't win the wonderful little prize here, the place to get these things, Flip Aquatics, they have, I know they have the Miracen 1 and 2 in stock. I believe they have the Bacteria Shield in stock, Bacter Shield. But this is just a good thing. If you remember a couple months, was it last month or the month before, we did some other meds that you should have on hand. I think one of them was Copper Save. I don't remember the other ones off the top of my head. Maybe it was Fix Icks. I don't remember, but you should always have ick meds on hand. You should always have some way to treat. Oh, Expel P was one of them for internal parasites and then stuff like this. And when you have all that, something goes wrong, you don't have to worry about where am I going to find this stuff. All right, so one winner. It needs to be in the continental U.S. because we can't ship outside of the 48 states. I'm very sorry for that, but it's just not something we can do. So if you're in the continental United States, you're in business. One winner, and it's going to be, what do you got here? Hold on. I'm going to type in the go. It's a number between, what do we say, 75 and 100. So first person that gets the right number between 75 and 100 is the person. What do we got here? Let's see. And I know the number. Oh my gosh, they're coming in fast. Bro. Hold on.
Okay, mine's, oh geez, wait. Oh, oops.
Hold on. Let's see. Not seeing it just yet. Are you?
No.
I told you picked a bad number.
Oh, I got one.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to double check here. You double check me.
Okay. All right, so we can pause the numbers. We think we have it now. We can stop typing in the numbers. The numbers are no longer necessary because the winner has already been won.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to find it.
You didn't find it yet?
No, because it jumped around on me. So hold on a second here. Did you find it?
I did, but now I lost it.
Hold on. This is the part where we have to scroll. Oh, yeah, okay, I got it. Is this it?
No.
No? Hold on, everybody. I think it is.
No.
It's further up?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me see. This is the boring part.
Yeah. Just talk amongst yourself.
Yeah. Just think about all the good questions you're going to ask. So then
and you missed the super chat. We got to get to it.
Okay, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. I don't... No, that was it. Because there's the go.
Right.
Everybody's like in suspense. Was it me?
There we go.
Where?
The bottom.
Oh, okay. Good catch. All right.
Thank you.
So, you want to flash the number? And that means Veronica. You are the winner of all this cool stuff, Veronica. So, what you have to do, Veronica, is send an email with your address to This is all one word. Prime time giveaway.
Singular.
Yep. Yeah, primetime giveaway at yahoo.com. Send us your address, your mailing address. We'll send you the stuff. Nice job. Congratulations.
Yay!
That's awesome. And don't worry, if you didn't win, we've got tons more giveaways throughout the year because both Flip and Fritz Aquatics have graciously supplied us with all kinds of stuff for you. And I just got in the order for next quarter's giveaways from Flip Aquatics, which will be starting in the not too distant future.
Cool.
And yeah, there's some cool stuff. We got some more. It's going to be more than it was last time because I was like, we need more. Each winner should get more things. And Flip Aquatics, Rob's a great. He's like, yeah, let's do more. So I've never heard him tell me no. So it's pretty cool.
And Marvin,
awesome.
The number was 99. Winning number was 99.
99. That was a weird number you picked. I was going to be like,
I know.
That's going to take a while. And it did. Everybody's like, I want to pick something in the middle. So congratulations. I'm happy for you.
Yay.
Crown Half-Tail Moon says, I'm seeing me before Veronica. I don't know. Let's go back and check real
We can
fast.
totally double check.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not picking favorites here. So if that ever happens where, oh my gosh,
both of our eyes are really horrible.
Yep, but I am seeing Veronica first. No.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Shannon eventually got it too.
Yeah.
Shannon. Oh.
And so did Alice. No, Veronica is...
Oh, and can you get back? Because I'm now limited.
I'm back here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm limited.
Yeah, Veronica was definitely the first one.
Okay.
I don't see Crown Tails show up until the 82 guess, and then maybe somewhere down the line.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yep. Maybe you have yours. So one of the things I've done, Crown Tail, is I have been notorious for not having my live chat on live chat. It's on top chat, and it will show out of order, and it will only show certain things. So you got to make sure that you've got choices. Well, remember all those years? Kasha taught me that was when she did the live stream with us.
You guys were talking about top chat or live chat.
But top chat doesn't necessarily show all the chats. So that's why she's like, "Why are you on top chat?" I'm like, "Oh." So I had to make sure I was on live, right?
Chat.
So,
okay, good.
yeah. So that's the deal there. Okay. So that's that. Congratulations. Let's get back to the fun party known as. Oh my gosh, everything just skipped around. Now you says,
Yeah, Noelle was kind enough to spot there was a super chat that we missed.
Okay, please, thank you.
Hold on here.
Okay, you've got the screenshot? Sweet.
From PCRA.
Oh, sorry, very sorry. If we ever do that, yeah, please pipe up because again, that's not something that we're trying to do is miss out on super chats. That would be a horrible thing.
Can you look through super chats and find it?
Oh my
because
gosh, Joanna.
I did a screenshot, but the arrow is like totally covering the question.
Okay, hold on a second here. Give me a second. The whole live stream thing is falling off the rails because of all the.
In the meantime, there is a question from Brandon that I see in my screenshot. How often should I clean my 5-gallon aquarium for my betta-fish? I like to clean it once a week. That's a good kind of ballpark.
Yeah, so when it comes to water changes, just generally speaking, regardless of the size tank that you have, when we do test water, it's usually early on. And so once we have our stocking level set, the plants are in, what we're trying to figure out is how much water do we have to change per week to keep our nitrate levels. If it's a non-planted tank, 20 parts per million or less. If it's planted, I'll let that go into the upper 20s. So whatever that is. For you, if it's a planted tank, you might be looking at 5% every couple of weeks. For us, you see these 4 tanks back here? It's meant 1 water change since we've been in this studio now for, I don't even know how long we've been in this studio, since last fall. I've done 1 water change. It's only been top-offs there. And our nitrates and everything, all of our water parameters stay relatively in check. So, not saying you should never change your water and only do top-offs because you could have a very big problem if you do that. But you need to figure out...
Only a betta.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe not a lot of plants.
Well, yeah, it's all unique to your situation. So the goal, what we're using is nitrate levels, right? We're trying to keep it definitely less than 30 parts per million. At the highest, right before a water change, 20 would be even better. Okay, I've got the P-Cray. First of all, very sorry we missed the super chat. TDS 170, is that okay or should it be lower? I've got Barbs. If so, how to lower without RO? TDS is not a measurement I typically use. And the reason for that is TDS is not telling me a couple of really important factors. TDS is not telling me what my general hardness is, it's not telling me my KH, and it's not telling me my nitrate levels. And I want to know what's contributing to my TDS. TDS is total dissolved solids, and it's going to include all of the things that are in the water. So, for instance, our tap water, the TDS of our tap water, and it's been a long time since I put my TDS meter in tap water, but my recollection is it's between 220 and 250. That's our tap water, right? It's no nitrates. It's just because of our GH and KH. In some of our cichlid tanks, because we've got cichlid mix in there, or we've got a bunch of Texas Holy Rock and a bunch of shells that are breaking down. In some of our cichlid tanks, that TDS goes for 500. Not a big deal. They love it. So ideally what you'd want to do is not worry about TDS as much as what is your general hardness, your carbonate hardness, and then what is your nitrate levels. Once you have those things, then you can begin to determine, do I need to lower anything? And most likely with barbs at 170, my inclination is to say you're probably fine, because we've got barbs rolling at 200-300, and we very rarely have any issues. So that's the dealio with the TDS. All right, what do we got?
All right, we got a question regarding, where did it go? Okay, from AE. I have a mystery snail question. Yellow snail, now little faded, showing white cracks or lines, does move around but less active, water tested at pet store and was good. Please help. It's Son's beginner tank.
Okay, so a couple things there. Water tested was fine. Water testing and fine can mean a lot of things, especially when you take your water to PetSmart. And if they're not understanding what are the requirements of a mystery snail. So water testing and fine often means, well, you don't have any ammonia and you don't have any nitrite, your nitrates aren't horrible, so your water's fine. Well, did they test the KH, right? Because if that KH is low, let's say in the mid-single digits or lower, there's not enough carbonate hardness there for the snails to form proper shells. If that's the case, then again, going back to that whole Cats Aquatics, snail food can be a very big help because it can supply the calcium to the snails and hopefully strengthen that shell a little bit. Okay, what else you got?
Chris wants to know, do either of you like the shimmering effect that comes from lighting like a Kessel, and are any of your tanks set up that way? I love that look. We have Kessels on one tank.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not aware, Kessel lights are
magic.
Very high-end lights in the freshwater aquarium hobby. Kessel lights are basically like a pennant light. They're not a strip light like a Fluval or a Phoenix or something like that. We have one set on a 75 gallon. So it's the 75 gallon that's got all the rainbow fish. Right now it's got Geophagus, Dicrososter in that tank, some snakeskin barbs. If we didn't have duckweed along the entire top of the tank, it would in fact be shimmering. I did a video on the Kessel lights at that time, and it's an amazing looking tank, but you're going to pay for that shimmering, and you're going to pay a lot. And so the setup that we have, I believe they were the Tuna Sun. This has been a long time since I made this video, but I think they were the Tuna Sun 360s, but they're specifically for freshwater. If you go back and look at that video, I explained the whole setup, but that entire setup was somewhere in the $700 to $800 range. So they get very expensive, but they're amazing lights. They give you that really high-end look for a fish tank, that shimmering look. They'll grow just about any plant you could think of, but they don't come cheap because basically you need one Kessel probably for every 2 feet of tank. So if you're running like a 6-foot tank, you need 3 of those now, you're up over $1,000. I think it was like around $350 or so per light with like the gooseneck and all that stuff to hook it up. Okay. Game On 360. I was away for a bit. Did they answer my question? I don't think so. So feel free to ask it again, and hopefully we'll see it when it pops back up. All right. Atomic Injections just randomly threw in 83. We finished the thing, man. But I appreciate you contributing to the number guessing thing. And my sparkling gourami pair just had a ton of babies. That's cool. Congratulations.
Oh, lucky.
What should I feed them, and will the parents eat them?
You?
Okay, so what should we feed them, and will the parents eat them? We also have had sparkling gouramis have babies. Mm-hmm. When they did, I wasn't really expecting it, so we kind of lucked out because at the time they had the babies in a tank that had a big old matin filter, and so they were picking off the matin filter. They are very, very small, so live baby brine from the start is not going to work, so you're going to want to do some type of fry food or infusoria and do that first, and you're probably going to have to feed that for a couple weeks at least before they're large enough to eat live baby brine. Then I switch over to that, and then they just get crushed flake after that. So that's one way to deal with it. Now, will the parents eat the babies? I generally would prefer to remove the parents from that situation, just because if they decide, hey, you know what, I'm hungry, they will snack. So I would remove the parents just for the heck of it. All right, so, and by the way, Noelle, thanks for catching the super chat. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Noelle.
Rianne, I have plenty of females, but have noticed my smaller male mollies mating with other males. What's up with that? I don't know. You should talk to them about it. They could, in all seriousness, sometimes males will kind of spar with one another. If that's all they're doing and they're not really like going at one another, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you start to see ripped fins, then maybe you'll have something else to deal with.
For the snails, can you just put crushed eggshells?
I have not done that. Some people have. So I don't know, because I haven't done it, I don't know if you're like, oh man, you know what, I forgot to really rinse those things off. My water turned cloudy or anything like that. But people have done it. Shannon says, thank you so much for introducing me to Flip Aquatics. I live in Ohio and got my fish the next day, and they are great. Thanks again. Well, that's good to hear.
You're lucky to be in Ohio in that case.
We've gotten a lot of shipments from them, and I don't ever recall getting fish in that were like, oh, wow, great, these are all dead. Or they died right away. So we've had very good luck bringing in fish.
They're the best.
Yep. Betta99, hi, how are the Hydra lights doing? Hydra lights are doing great. I know, you know what? I really need to knock that video out, the long-term review, and I don't know why I keep putting it off, but I said, usually around 12 months, and now it's been like almost 24 months, so it's been almost 2 years since, I know, time flies.
Horrible.
So to give you an idea, I like that light, and I have since purchased, I think, 4 or 5 more. And by the way, the light back here, that's a Hydra light, so it's a 4-footer, but I've purchased at least 4 more, probably 5 since then. They're more or less now, if a light goes out, because some of my older Finnick Stingrays are getting kind of old and they get a little messed up, the Hydras are basically my go-to lower price point light, for sure. I just really like the color spectrum on those lights, and so far they've been great. Haven't had a problem with any of them. So, what you got?
Brandon would like to know, pygmy cories and odos eat BBS? He's trying to get them to breed.
Wait, BBS. Live baby brine?
Oh, I said BBS and I was thinking BBA. But then the question, I'm trying to get them to breed. I was like, okay, so there's 2 questions.
Am I dumb?
Babies. I'm assuming babies. Do pygmy cories and odos eat the babies?
So
is that what BBS
okay,
babies?
hold on. Let's back up. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions here. Pygmy cory cats and odos. I don't see any reason why, and I've never bred odos, but I can't imagine why they would eat their babies. The pygmy cory cats might eat the odo babies if they're in a tank together, but I don't really foresee them eating most sucker type fish, whether we're talking about most plecos, odos, they don't generally eat their fry because that's not their game, right? Their game is munching on algae and stuff, surfaces. Pygmy cory cats, are they going to eat their babies? Probably. I mean, I wouldn't expect too many of them to survive. Usually, if you see eggs, I would probably either put the eggs in an egg tumbler or remove the eggs, or remove the fish, the parents. Let me see here. Cheryl says, Noelle, I'm going to try saying hi one more time. I said hi when you made I don't even know what that is. Oh, icy hot comment, and then tried again before the giveaway. I assume it flew by with all those giveaway numbers. Well, now you know. Cheryl says hi, and she didn't just say hi to Noelle. She says hi to everybody, because that's just how she rolls. Right? Right. All right, let me see. What do we got? What do we got? Hold on, this thing's about to skip on me, and it's going to jump. There it goes. Simon says, how do you deal with a nitrite spike during cycling? Do I just wait it out? Well, I did a video on how to lower nitrite, and there's a couple things you can do. Nitrite is dangerous, so I would, if there's fish in the tank, I'm not waiting that one out because that can kill the fish. If there's no fish in the tank, then wait it out because who cares, right? Let the thing do what it's going to do. That's the nice thing about doing a fish list cycle. You let the ammonia spike. It's like, whoo, ammonia spike. You can put plants in there still. Then the nitrite spikes, you're like, yeah, you go nitrite. You can spike as much as you want. When you got fish in the tank, you don't want those things spiking. So in the video, I talk about water changes, right? You're doing daily, large volume water changes. The second thing you can do, especially if you don't have plants or salt-sensitive fish, you're adding the salt. That's the other reason why the salt is good, because in particular, it is very effective against high nitrite. The third thing we're doing is we're reducing the amount of feeding that's going into the tank, because less food means less waste, which means less ammonia products being produced, nitrogen products, which means eventually less nitrite. And then there is the really good thing that's going to speed up this whole process and make it safer, and that is if you currently have an ammonia or nitrite spike, then you're going with the Fritz Turbo Start, which is live nitrifying bacteria that's very concentrated. You put that in the tank and those microbes will start going to work. Is it going to bring the nitrites down like that? No, but it's going to greatly shorten the amount of time that nitrite spike occurs. So Fritz Turbo Start, there's Fritzzyme 7 and Fritz Turbo Start. Fritzzyme 7 is great if you don't have an emergency. If you've got high concentrations already, the Fritz Turbo Start is the way to go. Okay, Brandon did say baby brine shrimp. Yeah, okay. So
BBS is baby brine.
Well, usually I was thinking live baby brine. Usually I call it LBB, but whatever. The otos aren't going to probably eat the live baby brine. Pygmies will, but probably not when they're first born, not the fry, because it's going to be too big for them. So again, that's the nice thing about a lot of the cory cats and the pygmies to a certain extent is they're still going to scavenge, so the crushed flake, the infusoria, is going to work for them too.
All right. Our dear friend Winkmaster Supreme Forever has a question.
What's up?
What is your opinion of freshwater butterfly fish? I think they're interesting and very zen-like, but are they as delicate as they appear to be?
It's been a long time since I've kept them, so I'm by no means an expert. I don't have a lot of experience with them. I never had the best luck with them. They definitely would benefit from some floating foods. They benefit from some live foods. They will sometimes get out-competed from what I can remember. And for those of you who have kept them more recently, maybe you're like, yeah, dude, I don't think you're remembering this correctly. But from what I can remember, it just seemed like they were constantly getting out-competed for food. So that was my memory of the situation. I remember keeping them and thinking, I'm probably not going to do that again. So some of you are probably like experts and you're like, oh man, yeah, they're awesome. Let's see here. I had a question I wanted to answer, but you go ahead and
Thanks.
Talk your thing.
Rianne, I want to put electric blue rams with my lamp Achilles. Are they a good pair?
Well, I thought you were answering a question, so I wasn't actually listening. So can you say that again?
You funny. I want to put electric blue rams with lamp Achilles. Are they good match?
Achilles.
I mean, one will stay at the top.
Yeah, as long as you've got a decent-sized tank, meaning...
On a lid?
Yeah. It'd probably be okay. Wait, one of them... here it is. G Supreme. How many rummy nose in a 60-gallon with 4 apistos? If the rummy nose are that's like your schooling fish, and all you're going to have is the rummy nose and the apistos,
yummy. How
many would I throw in there? So, okay, I'm going to assume that the 60-gallon is the 4-foot 60, right? It's just a little bit taller than the 55. If that's the case, I don't know, 50 or 60 of them I would probably do. It'd be striking. It would be really striking. Yeah. So the problem is if you only put like 12 or 15 in a 60-gallon, like, okay, I can see them, but it's not like, bam, I put a bunch. So that's how I roll with it. Be careful with the rummy nose, though, because that's one you really want to make sure you quarantine. There's been a few times where I've had rummy nose and they got ick, and when they got ick so fast, and it was so overwhelming that there was nothing I could do about it. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why. I mentioned this probably a couple weeks ago. There's a reason why when you go to a pet store, they will make a distinction between rummy nose and tank-raised rummy nose. Get the tank raised. Spend the extra money to get the tank raised rummy nose, and you'll probably have a little bit better luck. Chris G, thank you for the super chat. I'm new here. Well, we're glad you're here. Hopefully you found everybody to be enjoyable, because there's a bunch of cool people here.
Heck yeah.
You two are very nice to listen to.
Aww.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
thank
that.
You.
Glad you're here. This is a cool place to be on a Wednesday night, because
Heck
you all are
you got the
chilling
best
with
of the
us.
best here.
Well, meaning them.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't. We're
best of the best.
Weirdest of the
chat people and people
bunch.
Watching who don't chat. Those are the awesome ones. Joe Jones has got a good question. Will anaerobic bacteria grow in a fast flow rate of water? No. Anaerobic bacteria, strict obligate anaerobes. So these are microbes that are actually killed by oxygen. We talk about these guys in microbiology. They lack certain, so believe it or not, oxygen is toxic to all cells in high enough concentrations because it causes things like radicals. Maybe you've heard of them, the free radicals. And for human beings, like, okay, well, drink your fruit juices and you neutralize them, and it, with the fruit juices and stuff. Well, that's because the way oxygen is used in cells, sometimes it gets a negative charge, and that can interfere with DNA and RNA and proteins. So to answer your question, the truly anaerobic bacteria that are obligate anaerobes, in other words, they cannot be in the presence of oxygen, don't grow in the water column. They're not going to grow on the surfaces of pretty much any surface in your aquarium. Where your anaerobic bacteria are going to grow is in the substrate, deep in the substrate, in which case it doesn't matter how fast the water is flowing. Right? However, that being said, they're probably not going to grow all that. They're not going to grow usually they don't grow to an extent that's going to have a noticeable impact on nitrate concentrations. And I think that's all the rage right now. Is like, I'm setting up this anaerobic environment. Now I don't have to do any water changes. And that can happen. Don't get me wrong. That can definitely happen. However, it usually works best when the tank is very lightly stocked. There's also some plants in there which are contributing to the reduction of nitrate concentrations, probably in a way that's far more impactful than the anaerobic bacteria. Not probably, they are. And then you've got the anaerobic bacteria that are happening in the substrate. But most people stock their tanks too mud. They have too many fish in the tank for the anaerobic bacteria to grow to a concentration where it's going to have a huge impact. The other caveat to that is there is some media where some people have had good luck with it, like the biohome type media, and there's others too where they have such microscopic pockets that the anaerobic bacteria can inhabit those microscopic pockets and begin to do what's known as nitrate reduction. All right, so we talk about the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle in the aquarium hobby is really only half the cycle. It's going from ammonia to nitrite, nitrite to nitrate. That's the nitrification process. Nitrate reduction is the other half of that cycle where, okay, now you've got the nitrate. Well, what happens in nature? You have microbes that reduce that nitrate into nitrite and then possibly nitrogen gas, and it gases off, and boom, now you're done. Or you have cyanobacteria in your aquatic environment that takes that nitrogen gas and converts it back into a nitrogen compound that can be incorporated into proteins. All that being said, that media that is touted as being anaerobic, usually you need so much of it that you're almost going to have to add another filter, and it really is best suited for canister filters and possibly a sump system. It doesn't really work as well on a hang-on back filter because now you're running out of space. By the time you put that stuff in there, you're running out of space for your aerobic bacteria that are doing the nitrification process and all your media that's going to take the gunk out of the water. So that's the dealio. What's up?
What's up? All right, I got a few back here.
A few?
Yeah, because I think we can knock them out pretty quick.
Bring it.
Official Blood Runner hanging out wondering what the giveaway is. Well, it was.
Well, hold on. Let me just show you. The giveaway was Miracen 1 and 2, So there's things that all fish keepers should have. Bacter shield. I always want to call it bacteria shield. And some aquarium salt. But don't worry. Even though you missed the giveaway, not to worry. There will be another one at some point in the future with stuff that you'd be like, that's cool. I need that too.
Okay, I got a couple more.
Okay, bring
All right. Christy would like to know, not sure how to tag people properly. If you haven't gotten that answer yet, all you do is the @ sign and then the person's name, just however it's written, and then their name will be highlighted to themselves. Kind all night. I bought a piece of driftwood from my local aquarium store recently. I rinsed it and put it in my aquarium, but days later it grew some white slime. Yep, that's what a lot of driftwood does. And it will eventually go off within like a week or two, unless, of course, you have fish that like to snack on it.
Bottom line is it's unsightly, but it's not typically very dangerous.
Yeah. And during your water changes, you can just take a toothbrush. I like to use a toothbrush to kind of brush it off and then just kind of pull it off. And
you can gravel vac it off too. Like if you have a small gravel vac and you just kind of rub it along the driftwood, it'll suck that stuff out of there. But congratulations, you're part of the Wood Slime Club. Yep. That's us, Wood Slimers. Let's see here. Legia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for the super chat. Do you have tips on how to raise molly fry? We do. I did a video, Molly Species Profile. We talk a little bit about molly breeding. So our 50-gallon lowboy has got a whole bunch of black mollies, and we used to get a lot of fry in that tank until I added the purple spot gobies, and then we don't see nearly as many, but they still do. We still get some. Tips for molly fry. A, have some top cover. So that could be water wisteria, water sprite, hornwort, guppy grass, just something that's going to stay near the top. So when those mollies are hanging out at the top, the larger mollies aren't like, man, I just heard my stomach growling. Like, I heard that too. That's nasty. Go get something to eat. Or the person hasn't fed us yet. I'm just going to go eat one of them little ones of us. So, A, give them some top cover so they are not 100% always visible by the grown-ups in the tank. 2, keep your fish decently well fed. So multiple smaller meals a day, 2 or 3 times feeding, but small meals. Just keep them, if you keep them full, they're going to be less likely to be like, hey, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't feel like chasing those little babies around anymore. So that will also help. So we also feed all of our fry live baby brine. And the baby live bearers, which mollies would be included in that, go crazy for us. So it helps them get the nutrients they need. They grow a little faster, in my opinion. If you're having problems with fry predation, you can always remove the fry as you begin to see them at the top of the tank. What is so funny?
Shannon, she said, all that knowledge Jason is giving out is making my head explode.
I think my head's about ready to explode. All the talking I'm doing tonight is making my head want to explode.
Yeah, would you be quiet?
Okay, shh. Everybody, we're going to have, you know what's fun, and some of you probably relate, if you've ever been in a situation where you have a bunch of small kids around, like when we would do like the kids small group things, or like even baseball when they were getting too crazy. I coached for so many years, and you just wanted them to just shut up for a few seconds. You'd be like, all right, guys, you know what we're going to do? We're going to play the quiet game. Who can win? And they get all into it. They'd be like, oh yeah, I'm winning this. And they would be quiet. And you could sometimes keep them quiet, depending on their age. When they're little, like 3, 4, 5 years old, you could keep those kids quiet for minutes, which seem like hours when they've been really loud. So I'm going to play the quiet game by myself.
All right, cool.
I don't think we're supposed to get so much positive feedback from that. What else you got?
It's funny.
Funny. How am I funny? Funny how?
Funny like a clown.
Funny like a clown? Like I'm here to amuse you? How am I funny?
Clown.
There's a movie quote for you. It's an easy one. It's the only one we've done tonight. Let's see who's got it.
James wants to know a new moniker. Primetime Slimers.
Primetime Wood Slimers. Yep. Killer Kitty 08 coming up with the Killer Kitty. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Goodfellas. Jetty J. Boom. That was probably one of the easier quotes, but you got it. You got it first. So
too bad.
Prince has got it.
Pal Joey isn't here. Have you seen Pal Joey?
No, I haven't seen Pal Joey in a while.
You could share the movie that you saw last night.
Oh yeah. So I don't know why. Well, I just wanted to watch a motorcycle movie, and we watched like what is that? Wild Hogs. Like
every night.
I don't know why, because I just get obsessed about things, and motorcycles is my obsession lately. So I'm like, I got to switch it up. So I went on, I don't know, I Googled like good motorcycle movies. And they were like, the original motorcycle movie, the wild one. with Marlon Brando. Now, the only time I've ever seen Marlon Brando was when he was in Apocalypse Now, and the only thing I think of is, it's like walking on the edge of a straight razor and surviving. Wasn't that him?
I don't know, but there's a bigger movie than that.
That's the only one. I'm just saying that's the only one I've seen him on, I think.
No.
What do you mean no? How would you know?
Godfather.
But I don't remember Godfather. I saw it once. It wasn't my thing. I'm more of a Goodfellas, Casino. I know I'm weird.
Like mob
it's
movies
okay.
and that, like.
I don't know. I know I'm weird. I admit it that's probably
okay, but you've
not
seen
a thing. But anyway, yeah, the wild one. I'm not. But you know the weird thing is I want to watch it again.
Well, I didn't see it.
I actually got stressed out because in that one I was like, it's so disappointing. They're acting so bad in that town. I'm like, you're rooting for like the townspeople, but I think you're supposed to be rooting for the, probably back in the 50s, whenever that movie was made, you're probably rooting for like the motorcycle gang. But I'm like, they're being so rude. Like, I want them to get arrested. Wild hogs. That's right. It's just a patch your wife sewed on. All right, back to the questions. Peter asks.
Yeah.
In my 29-gallon, I have 2 Crebenzas and 6 cherry barbs. How would you finish off this tank in regard to stocking? It's a good question. I like that. 2 Crebenzas and 6 cherry barbs. If the Crebenzas wind up being a pair, you could have a little bit of territorial issues, but it's not like horrible in a 29 because they're going to keep their babies near the bottom. So your 6 cherry barbs, by the way, the 6 cherry barbs will definitely pick off some fry when they can. How would I finish off the stocking? I would probably, if you don't already have some type of a Cory cat in there, I might put something in there, something cool, maybe some orange lasers or some Adolphi Corys. I like the Julie Corys, Panda Corys. That might be cool to put like a half a dozen of those in there. If you're looking for something like schooly, you could add more cherry barbs. I mean, you could definitely do another half a dozen and have 12 of them in there. Maybe put a couple more males and 3 or 4 more females in there. Let's see. What else could we do in a 29? Big enough so that the Crebenzas aren't going to eat them. I got a 29 right now that I really like, the Brilliant Green Raspberries. I've got a big group of about 15 in that tank, and I like that. I like those a lot. The Harlequin Raspberries could be cool as a schooling fish. If you're looking for, what else could we do? We could do some Peacock Gudgeons in there. Someone mentioned those earlier. That's a cool fish to add. Maybe 4 or 5 of those. You got something? What do you want to put in a 29?
Could you do like Diamond Tetras?
Yeah, you could do that.
For some sparkle?
Yeah, a little bit of sparkle. Lemon Tetras or the Candy Cane Tetras.
Did you already do the skirt
glow
Tetras?
Lights. I wouldn't do skirts in a 29.
Oh, that's right, 29, sorry.
Yeah, glow light Tetras would work. That's, yeah. So basically what I got for your Tetras, more of them, their barbs, and some Panda Corys. Mm-hmm. Could all be cool. Whips World, whoa, Casino. But not the Godfather? I'm not sure we can be friends anymore. I know,
Whip,
I'm weird.
Come on, you and me, we can get some
here's
friends.
Here's what I'll commit to. Whip, I'll commit to this. I will try to watch Godfather again. Maybe it was just, I watched them all in a row. I'm not going to lie. I watched them years ago. I watched them all in a row as like a marathon. And maybe I was in a bad mood. And maybe I just got to the point where I didn't want to watch TV anymore. And I just stuck it out because I felt like I was committed to knocking them all out in a day. And that's why I didn't enjoy it. I will try to watch them again. And who knows? When I come back a couple weeks from now, I'm like, no, actually, they were pretty good. Mm-hmm. Now I'm addicted. I went from motorcycles to wanting to be a mobster. So, and I'll start, just changing my whole persona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. Jay says, have you guys ever thought of making shirts for kids? My kids have been asking for a fishy shirt and were upset at the swap meet because they didn't get one. Oh, that's sad. So I think, we've got size small, and they're actually fairly small, but I don't know how old your kids are.
Yeah.
But smalls are decently small, but we haven't gone less than that because our target demographic, at least the people who watch our videos, we get very, very, very few children, at least that we know of. Probably because they use their parents'
they would be young.
sign in.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to know. Yeah.
We have not gotten a lot of requests though. I think you might be the first one to say, except for one person in a swap, wanted to know if we had children's sizes.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I think you're the second person.
We might have to look into it.
Not out of the realm because it would be super fun because I could do some.
Are you still
going
to do the thing that we talked about with the new design for coming up for the summer?
Oh yeah.
We need to get that done. Yeah, we need to do another special edition. We got a cool idea for a special edition, like a limited edition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like those.
This one just needs to, free up some spare time and all of the spare time that you have.
That's right.
Shannon, thank you very much for the super chat.
Shannon.
Hey guys, just want to say thank you for all the great information you guys share with us each week. Tickets for Aquashella Dallas are purchased. We hope to see you there. Yeah. You two are awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat. And yep, we are scheduled to be in Dallas in, August the 6th, 5th, 4th, somewhere in there. It's the first weekend in August, Dallas Aquashella. It's going to be off the hook.
Heck
it's going to be lit. It's going to be on the chain, off the chain. It's going to be lit chain on the hook.
No.
It's going to be great.
No.
It's going to be all those things. So hope to see as many of you there as possible. So we still have, so basically for this year, the places that we're planning to be is Aquashella Dallas, which is in August, Aquashella Chicago, which is only like 30 minutes from our house. So we really need to be there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
That's in October, beginning of October. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I kept thinking it was at the end of October, but no, it's like the first weekend in October. And then the other one, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 90% sure we're going to be at the Ohio Cichlid Association Extravaganza because I really like.
Yeah, that was cool.
I really like that one.
That was super fun.
So I haven't talked to anybody there like we did last year where we had like a little table and a space, but I should probably reach out to them and see what's going on. Maybe they just like, we're going to keep those people out of here. But want to be there. It'd be cool. And the gang.
Cool, and the gang. You got it. All right, TB. My fish are twitching and flashing against decor. I don't think it's ick. What else should I treat for?
My fish are twitching and flashing against decor. Well, that depends on how long you've had them and if you've added any new fish to the tank. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll do that after water changes. They just get irritated, especially if those micro bubbles. Sometimes you turn it on, you get the little micro bubbles everywhere. They get like, oh, this is just driving me crazy, and they'll do that. If you have, be careful because ick often establishes itself first in the gills where it's not visible. And that's very irritating to fish, and they will flash a lot when that happens. So just because you haven't seen any spots yet, doesn't mean it isn't ick. It could be some type of, and it's so hard, right? I mean, if they're just showing those signs, sometimes it can be a bacterial type of thing. Usually they're going to show some type of sign, like maybe they're going to get extra mucus, so they have like a white film over them. Maybe they'll have white patches. So we're looking for that for the external stuff. Other times, especially if you've got some cichlids, they'll do that just because they're almost like showing off. Like, this is my rock, this is my little decoration, and I'm just going to flash like that. I remember many times, when I first started keeping cichlids, they would do that, like, oh, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And they weren't. They were just being weirdos. So just keep an eye on them. Keep keeping an eye on them. Echo Beta, thank you for the popcorn little sticker guy.
What did you say?
Echo Delta. Echo.
You said Echo. You said Echo.
All right, my eyes are going. So all right, here's the deal. One of the reasons why I can't see so good is A, the writing's very small. B, we're kind of far from the screen, and C, there is a big old bright light shining in my face.
Yeah, there is.
And so when you combine all those things, sometimes I say dumb stuff like the fernfish.
Fernfish.
Right, which we're going to buy. Echo Delta, my apologies. Thank you so much for the popcorn sticker.
That's so cute. That's a really cute sticker.
And now you have two names, Echo Delta and Echo Beta.
There you go. That can be your alter ego.
Yep, that's your alter ego. It's Echo Beta here. That should be like a thing that they do, like the Echo Delta, the Charlie thing, when they're in the Army. Echo Beta.
Yeah.
That would be something. Echo Beta here. We're ready to move in.
Sketchy.
Pokemon Adventures. Thank you very much for being here. I have a 75-gallon with 6 fancy goldfish and 1 lost an eye. I'm currently quarantining and preemptively treating with medicine. How should I care for him once he heals? No different. Like I said, that was the first fish I ever had was a one-eyed black fancy goldfish. We've got fish in our fish room with one eye. As long as it heals, I would throw him back in the tank and treat him like a normal fish. And just keep an eye on it, make sure that nothing else happens. But fish can survive with one eye just fine. We got a few of them in the fish room. We'll do a couple more, and then we are going to call it a night. Shannon, sure, Jason, getting older sucks. Yeah, yeah, it does. Oh, Brooklyn's making fun of me too. Fernfish, all-time classic. Yeah, that was great. Let's see here.
Oh.
Hold on, Nabokov fan. Since you're in the mood for motorcycles, the world's fastest Indian is one of the greatest ones. I saw that, but I feel like, all right, I'm gonna drop a little truth bomb over here. I kind of feel like if I watch that, my Harley roots are gonna be like I'm betraying them. So if I watch this movie, I'm gonna have to do it like secretly because I feel like a brand trader or something like that.
Yeah, word's gonna get out. I'm gonna
Coke guy drinking Pepsi, or I don't know, like a Ford guy secretly liking the Chevy truck, something like that. But I'll probably have to watch it just because I do like motorcycles. I've had all kinds of different bikes in my day. So, and that says, you guys are hysterical looking. No, she didn't say the looking part. You guys make me laugh. You're just so weird looking.
True. We would disagree, but we can't.
We can't. No. It's just, yeah. There's another one. TV World's Fastest Indian is a must-see. All right, I'm gonna have to see it. But I'm probably gonna have to watch the wild one again, just because.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
Yep.
I heard vroom vroom, but I was
all right.
busy.
Well, we'll watch it after this in 1 minute here. All right, everybody. I think it's time that we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. This was a good group tonight.
Heck yeah.
A lot of really good questions, and like I said, write them down, bring them, because this is the place where hopefully we can get them answered. Again, we can't answer them all. I know some people are like, oh man, you didn't answer my question. I know, but we get like 1,000 messages in this short 1.5 hours, and we try to do the best we can to switch it up and make sure we're answering questions from all the different people. So don't take anything personally. Just ask it again next week, and we'll try to answer it next week. So thank you to our moderators, Kitty 08, and Dave, and Cheryl, and Wendy,
James,
and all the people that were here, and all the super chats. Thank you very much. And we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. Have a great week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hit the button.